The child tax credit is increasing from $2,000 per year to either $3,000 or $3,600 if your child is under the age of 6. So the question is, should you update your IRS Form W4, especially given that the payments for the child tax credit are going to start coming monthly starting in July. So let's go through the IRS Form W4, take a look at it, and figure out whether or not you need to make any adjustments. But before we do, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, Certified Financial Planner, helping you reach your financial goals. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen. We're going to go through the IRS Form W4 so I can show you exactly where to look and help you understand whether or not you should make an update in July, now, or after. So let's go ahead and pull it up on the screen and go through this together. So here we go with the tax withholding estimator. And I'm going to go quickly through this just to show the child tax credit. So I'm going to go married filing jointly. No one can claim us as a dependent. We're going to have one dependent, or actually I'm going to start with no dependents. We're going to come back. You'll see why I'm looking at that in a second. So income, we're going to say that we have one job. Our spouse doesn't work, just to get through this quickly. No pension, nothing else. Click next. Then we're just going to put in some numbers just so you can see how it works. So I'm going to choose a date here, and we're going to say that we're making $150,000 a year, just to show the walkthrough. No bonuses, nothing later. We're going to say that we withheld year to date $5,000, and we have an additional $250. Click no on the 401k, no on the cafeteria plan, next. And this is, again, just so we could see the child tax credit. Go to the next step. We're going to take the itemized, or excuse me, we're going to take the standard deduction here. And you can see it right there, $25,100 for 2021. That means your taxable income is reduced by or your adjusted gross income is reduced by $25,100 to reduce your taxable income. So now we're going to click on next. We're not going to look at the tax credits right now. And we're going to see our total tax liability to $18,975. Here's why I wanted to show you that. So let's go back to the front, or back to the first page here, and we're going to change it to having one dependent right there and right there. So click yes, we'll choose one. Everything else stays the same. Let's go to the very last page and make sure that we can check off our tax credit. So we can see right there, enter the number of qualifying children under 17. That is 2020 rules, not 2021. But I'm going to choose one for this, and we're going to click next. And you can see that that dropped by $2,000 to $16,975. Let me go back there and show that again. Go back up to the top, and we will click nothing, select an option. We're not going to select an option, so it doesn't know that we have the child tax credit. And you can see it went back up by $2,000. So let's go ahead again. Let's go ahead and put that in again. And I want to show you the output on this, or the actual W4. So we take a look at it. So this is with the child tax credit on 2020 rules. So it is not making the adjustment. We know that because it's either $3,000 or $3,600 if the child is now 17 or younger. Previously, it was under the age of 17. Why they didn't just change the number to 18, under the age of 18, because that's what it is, but that's what they're doing here, or that's what they're doing on the child tax credit. That's the way it's written. So if we go down to here, we can actually print out the W4. And let me go ahead and pull it up, and we can look right here. Look at that. We have one dependent. We know it's $2,000 for the child tax credit, but look at that. It's only putting in $328 in step 3, where we're claiming our dependents. And you can see the math right there. If your total income will be $200,000 or less, because that is the threshold for 2020 numbers, which it is, we had 150 minus the standard deduction, but it's saying under the age of 17 by 2,000. So per child that's under the age of 17, it should have multiplied by 2,000 and put 2,000 there. It's not wrong. The reason it isn't wrong is because if we go back to the online estimator, right here on page 2, the income and withholdings, what we've done year to date was $5,000 and then $250 per paycheck. It needs to make the adjustment because it's not correct. We just need to make the adjustment because maybe your income changes. So it's very common if you have a change in your job or your income, really, your income, or how much you've withheld, then you're going to need to make an adjustment to your IRS Form W4. This will prevent you having to owe at the end of the year or get as accurate as possible to not getting a huge refund either. Because you want to be very close to that tax liability through your withholdings. And that's what the IRS Form W4 or the online estimator is attempting to do. So to answer the question, should you go ahead and update your IRS Form W4? The short answer is yes. You should go into the IRS Form W4 online estimator when we come to July and you're going to start getting those payments, because you want to make sure that your withholdings are correct. And there isn't a checkbox. If you notice that on the W4, there is not a checkbox. Let's pull that up again. There is not a checkbox for the child tax credit. It just does the math for us. So it's basically just making an adjustment where step 3 is saying we need to withhold less, where step 4 really says we need to withhold more. So that's how those two sections work, whether or not you're on target. And if you're on target, it really is going to say nothing there. It's just going to say fill out the top with your basic information, your filing status, and then go ahead and sign it. But your filing status doesn't include, the only one that would be head of household, but it doesn't include dependents, and especially doesn't include the child dependents. So that's the child tax credit. So you would want to go in and make sure that you're updating your IRS Form W4 to reflect that. Now, it's possible that the IRS Form W4 could be so off, and then when we come to July, that you don't opt out of receiving the advanced child tax credit, because now they're going to start giving it monthly. You can opt out for it or make that adjustment, but you're going to want to make sure that you're paying attention to that. So it's not everyone's going to need to end up making the adjustment, but really everyone should be going back to their IRS Form W4 in July if if they have a child, if you're going to have the child tax credit, if you're going to take it up front, or if you're not. That's when you want to go ahead and take a look at the IRS Form W4. So quite simply, come back to it in July, come back to it in August, continue to go through it to make sure that it's as accurate as possible, because there's been so many changes. You know, we're having the change in our taxes, what credits work, how much those credits are. So all of those things are changing, so your withholdings need to adjust as well. And hopefully this puts a little bit more money back in your pocket. So because the child tax credit is increasing, that means you could withhold less money. So you want to make sure that you're withholding the correct amount so you don't actually get that huge refund, and you also don't have to pay at the end of the year. Now, there's no guarantees either way. You have to come back to the W4 to continuously look at it. So it's not a guarantee that in July or in August, if you go through the W4, that everything is just going to be just fine. If you make an error and it's off, it's off. So it's really your responsibility to make sure that the information that you're putting in the W4 is as accurate as possible. And I know that's not entirely a straightforward answer, like, well, how can I make it as accurate as possible? You have to get the right information in there. So you should come back to it. If there's any parts that are confusing to you when you're going through the W4 or with the child tax credit, let me know in the comments down below. And also check out the other videos that I have on the channel. I have a ton on the W4 and also the child tax credit. And of course, if there's other changes, I'll go ahead and post those here as well. That is how you should handle the child tax credit and your IRS Form W4. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.